All right, here we are, Mark. We are live again with our CNC brothers, and you and me are talking from 2,000 miles apart. And
Yeah.
another Wednesday evening. Thank you for for jumping on the bandwagon once again.
Well, thank you for asking me. I have a lot of fun here. So
Yeah,
I you only have to ask, and the answer is yes if I can possibly do it.
as long as the boss says okay.
Well, as long as I'm physically home, basically.
Right, right. All right. Well, CNC brothers and sisters, another Wednesday evening hangout where we are going to answer CNC questions as best we can. First, I want to say a few hellos, and then we'll bring the ladies on board so you all know who's in the background, who's really running the show around here. Yep. So we got us. What was that? Oscar. Okay. John Whitney, Ralph from Fayetteville, and Dennis from British Columbia. Been up there several times, at least once a year, but I think that's coming to an end. Let's see, wooden Indian carvings. All right, South Texas. So we're just talking about temperatures over by Mark there. It's hitting the 80s and about to hit the 90s. And boy, the guys in Texas, though, it's
Yeah.
South Texas nonetheless.
Oh, yeah. It's a bit toasty there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian and Terry. Yeah, I'm looking to go out to Arizona here in a week or two.
Nice.
Southern Arizona, so it's going to be really hot there too.
Humid as well down south.
Yeah, it's Gary from Colorado and Brian, Michael. So I'm seeing a few names that I since I spent a lot of time in the other thread where the questions are queued. I don't always see the names, so it looks like a few new names here, which is very cool. Okay, folks, you got questions? Put a question mark in front of them. We'll do our best to answer any CNC question we possibly can. We're going to bring out the ladies, though. So we got Julianne, the administrator for IDC Woodcraft, and Liberty, the fulfillment manager, as well. And as I always say, these are the two people that I couldn't live without. I don't think I could live if they didn't exist at this point. Yeah, but ladies, I had a compliment for you guys on the phone today. I was talking to our brother, Gary Lynn, who is out in the audience here. And he said, Garrett, you got a couple of serious winners there. And I just told him, you got it. But he told me something else too, that he said, since you weren't on the show last week and they were debating on what to give away, he popped in the idea of the alt mill, and you sound like you guys were almost on board with that. You know, I only got one alt mill here.
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Yeah. He asked me, and I said, no, they didn't say anything.
I think you sure they didn't say end mill? That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Heck, I'm working on getting or we're getting ready to work on getting a CNC for Liberty. We are getting expanding shortly our space, and so Liberty, when she's doing her content, she comes up to my shop. But we're going to get set up so she doesn't have to do that. She'll have her own zone. That's going to be so cool.
Very nice.
Then we have to tool that up. We get double up on toolboxes and computers and all the other. She'll have a lot of stuff that I don't have, like the epoxy and things like that. You're looking forward to that one, Liberty, aren't you?
Yes, we were discussing it more today.
Yeah,
something tells me she knows where to get her toolage.
Yeah.
We may have been making a list.
It's not just the bits, though. Yeah, she can have all the bits she wants. She's got them all. How many bits do we have in inventory? Would you say individual bits?
Over 5,000.
A lot.
Yeah,
Probably closer to 10.
Of 3 shelves full. Like
I almost want to say, personally, I'm feeling like it's more than 10,000 individual items.
Probably. I mean, because we've also got all the ER stuff too, which is a lot more smaller bulk.
Yeah.
And the ones that
then-
are unlabeled that are sitting in my office floor.
Oh,
Those two.
yeah, that was like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely have more than 10 because that was like at least a 2,000 piece order.
Got all the T-track. We've got all the CA glue that we're going to release soon.
Yeah.
All right, that's
Yeah.
1,000 pieces right there.
Don't forget the tape.
And
Well,
the
if you
tape.
got all those things, that tell me the crowd out here ain't doing their job. Because it should be coming in one door and going out the other door at roughly the same time. So y'all get on the ball, all right?
Right?
Yep. Okay.
The roughers definitely do. The
Yeah.
roughers definitely do go in one door, out the next.
For sure.
Well, yep. Hey, Sean just got his alt mill and surfaced the spoil board. First time ever operating a CNC.
One
Sean?
small victory at a time.
Yep. Wait till you get that first cut, that very first cut on a project. What was that like for you, Liberty?
Scary and amazing. Like all of a sudden, like I knew the possibilities of a CNC machine, but all of a sudden it was like, I can make these possibilities.
Yeah.
I turn into a 5-year-old every time I hit cycle start. It's just like, oh my God, it's working.
I'm like, here we go.
Yeah, congratulations, Sean. Sean, you surface your machine. One thing I would say for anybody who's got the alt mill or any CNC router, it's helpful to cut a grid on the machine. Liberty would talk about a grid. So the grid is like this right here. All right. How do we use a grid?
I utilize the grid to get my XYZ straight every time. If I'm utilizing it, I'm a lot like I've got my squares lined up. I can place a new piece on, things like that, because I know it's at 26 and 12 or what have you, because we do in measurements of 4 inches.
Yeah. So we position our grid from the home position of the machine. So we can reference, it's a G58, a G53 reference, where we can tell the machine, go to this very specific position. We can place our project right on that grid, like a grid intersection. And if we ever lose that coordinate, we know exactly where it's at because it's based off the home position. So anybody's got the alt mill, and you've surfaced it, but you haven't cut a grid. I got a free grid cutting guide. It's a G-code program. Yeah, it's the G-code program. The instructions here tell you exactly what to do to get that grid on your machine, what bit to use.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's actually very, very cool to have that written instruction. Now that's a PDF that you can either have right there or you can print it up, right?
Yeah. So this is a PDF. The instructions are a PDF.
Yeah.
And then you get the Vectric design files for the 4x4 and a 2x4. And I've done it both in inch and metric.
Nice.
So for inch, the grid lines are 4x4, and a metric, they're 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter. And then, and then I give you the G code for it as well. So there you go, Sean. All right.
That really helps out a lot because, as Liberty says, if you want to put a piece of material at 26 and 12, you can actually go into like G56 and mark that location so that you'll never lose it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Liberty, Michael said we should get you a 5x10.
That would overwhelm me so much.
I know some people to talk to.
Oh, there you go. Avid. I don't know if our floor would hold a 5x10.
I don't think so.
It depends. Avid probably would. But all right, well, cool. Yeah, I guess we should just hammer in. And so the ladies, you're gonna be doing a giveaway today, right? Every Wednesday we do the giveaway. So randomly they're gonna do it. They're gonna pop in. They're gonna take over the show. They'll stop me and Mark. We'll just have to sit on the side.
Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a break every once in a while.
Yeah. All right. So they'll be in the background talking to you, and I'll bring them out once in a while if we got something to ask. I love asking Liberty the questions when it comes to CNC because it works her knowledge on it. She's learned. But I got to say, Liberty has really advanced so far in this. Her creative, in many ways, her creative skill is way beyond me. You know, she's got. I'm an engineer, right?
Discipline, drive, and desire will carry you most of the way.
Yeah.
You know,
All right,
if you're willing to dive into it and work with it, you got nowhere to go but up. And
all right.
Absolutely.
Anything to share, ladies, before you go in the background?
Not yet.
Put those
Okay.
3 question marks in front of the questions so we can pull them out.
Okay,
Yep,
we got
that's it.
22. Yep, we got 22 sitting in the queue, Mark. Let's start hammering away. I have talked to Gary too, and I think I understand the question he's been trying to get across to me. And so I think I want to, because he's asked several times, and I started working on a video to answer it. But I think his question, he's got a Shark, like Shark HD 510 or 520. So there's a question related to that, but he also had a design related question about tool paths. But he's actually created a few of his projects. He's got it to a point of testing an MDF. So he's doing like cheese boards with pockets in them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sure we'll get into that, but I think he's got it. So, but it's basically what I'm understanding is basic tool path mindset when you're going into setting up your tool path, the thought process so let's tap into you on that when you're creating a tool path. For those of you who are relatively new here, right? And you're still getting into this and learning how to work the software. You got the CAD, which is computer aided design. And then you have the CAM, that's where you're setting up the tool paths. That's where you're deciding what CNC router bits are going to do what on the project that you designed. Then you're going to generate your G code, which is the language that your CNC router is going to read to know how to move around. And then, of course, you get your project set up. But when it comes to tool path, what is the thought process when somebody's getting ready to do their tool path?
I usually start with the design, and the project is going to dictate which tool paths you're going to use. Some of them are pretty cut and dried. You know, if you are going to be VCarving the project, you're going to use the VCarve toolpath.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to pocket something, you're going to use the pocket toolpath. If you're trying to sweep a vector along a drive rail, you're going to use the molding toolpath. Mm-hmm. So the project is going to dictate which toolpath you use. Mm-hmm. The order of operations, which one I'm going to do first, which one I'm going to do second, that is going to really depend on what's being done. You know, if I'm going to be drilling a couple of holes and then pocketing an area out, it doesn't really matter. If those are through holes, it doesn't really matter which comes first because they're going to be done, you know, whatever. It's really design specific. The only real rule that I use is my profile cutout. If I'm cutting out a shape, that is always the last toolpath I calculate, and it's always by itself. That way I decide when that gets done. Mm-hmm. Because I've had situations where a VCarve, it didn't quite turn out the way I thought it should. I will run that VCarve toolpath twice to go in and kind of clean up and make sure my depths are right and make sure everything is nice and smooth. Then I'll decide, okay, fine, now I'll bring in my profile cutout toolpath, then I'll do that. So.
Okay. Yeah, I like well, there's a concept in machining when you know, as in professional CNC machining, you know, the down and out rule, right? You're taking material down first, and then you're working your way out. Majority of the time, that's what you're doing.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, but I'm going to get a project here real quick.
That's a very good project. Very good way of looking at it. But there isn't really any kind of a philosophical mindset that goes along with it. You're basically removing material in steps in such a way that the toolpaths don't interfere with one another.
Right.
So,
yeah, this is where it was a really good example of this, what we call the down and out, the down and out rule.
Mm-hmm.
You're removing material down, but you're effectively raising the surface for this raised 3D thing. And then working out these things, your profile cutout is last. Yep, but I had to remove material from the top before I could actually do the detail work here. By the way, this is a very cool project that I made. This is also available to people if they want it. It's a game piece card holder. Because my niece Isabel, she had cancer when she was 6. I've talked about that before. And they took some of her brain out and they compromised one of her hands. But her family plays lots of games. So I decided to make this here. So it holds game pieces here. She put cards in there. And it says live, laugh, love, and play games. And of course, it's got the nice shape to it, and rounded edges and stuff. So if anybody's interested in making this, I've got a set of instructions for this too, with the G codes for this. And so,
perfect.
The ladies will link that in the comments and in the description of the video. And that's worthy of a drink. Me asking them, or just even suggesting, I already know they're on it. I don't even need to ask anymore. So Mark, we got a question from Rick about the version 12.5 has been released, a week ago?
Yeah. I don't even know if it was that long ago. It may have been just a few days. Okay, Rick Jackson. When I updated to VCarve Pro 12, then again to VCarve Pro 12.5, notice when I go to the tool database, the tool icon for each bit I use is grayed out, and those settings are shown. If you don't mind, I have VCarve Pro up. Let me go ahead and share my screen here.
Right.
And
by the way, folks, we're not going to dive into upgrades on 12 here. We can, unless you want to cover some things, Mark.
I can cover some basics.
Okay.
Because I see a lot of questions about how do I upgrade? I don't see how to upgrade. I can show
I'll answer that one. We're going to have Kyle Ely from Learn Your CNC back on in 2 weeks on the 18th, and he will cover all those upgrades.
Okay. I'm sharing whenever you want to bring it in.
Oh, I can't see it on my screen. Julianne, bring that up, please. It's down below my...
There we go. All right. So the question is about the tool database. And the first thing I would check is your material up here. Okay. If I switch over to, let's say, acrylic, I'm going to have fewer bits. You can see how my V bits are all grayed out and none of the setting information is here. This is very common. I have seen this time and time again, especially over the last couple of weeks. Get up here into the material and make sure you are in the proper material, and that same bit that I had selected, now there's all my information.
Yeah. So the IDC Woodcraft database is listed under hardwoods.
Now, if that doesn't solve the situation, you can come up here to help and come down here to migrate from older version. And when you click on that, you'll get this here. And you can hit the drop-down menu, and you can see these are other versions that you have installed on your computer. So in my case, if I have a good tool database in version 9.5, I can bring all of the settings, the tool database, post processors from that version.
Okay.
into my current version. Now, I don't need to do this. When you're installing the upgrade from 12.0 to 12.5, this should come up automatically. But I've heard from several people it didn't on their install. So if it doesn't come up again, that's help migrate from older version.
No. If worse comes to worse, and you just can't get it, I know Vectric collects feeds and speeds data. They've got a thing, right? When you first install it, it says, "Can we, grab
Let
your
me.
feeds and data?"
Are you talking about posting your tool database to the cloud?
I guess so. I'm not really sure. I
Okay.
always just click no.
This is something that is optional.
Okay, Liberty, you're nodding your head. Yeah, is that related to what we're talking about?
Personally, I do it. I do it all the time simply because I have this computer out here that I sometimes use if I need to modify a design. I'll jump over here rather than going in the house and using that computer
Right.
there. So I put my tool database on the cloud. That way I have the most current version out here as well as in there. It's like, for instance, I got 2 new bits this week, and I'm going to enter them in the database out here. Then I'll upload that to the cloud, and then when I get in the house, I can just download it, and I've got all those tools.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
all right. So there you go. And if worse comes to worse, you can always go back to IDC Woodcraft and re-upload our database.
now, I know you didn't really want to get into 12.5 versus 12.0, but can I show you something cool?
Sure. Yeah.
That one of my channel members showed me.
Okay.
A lot of folks have a big problem with this 12.0 screen. They didn't like it at all.
The color
Vectric has listened to us. If you go to Edit, Options, you'll open up your options. Then you come down here under General Settings. You'll see Theme. Right now it's set to default. If I click in here, there's a drop-down menu. You can go to a different theme, the blue theme. Click Apply and OK. And now we have colors out here. We have different colors to make things a little bit more visible.
Cool.
It's really helped me out a lot. It makes these icons stand out a little bit more.
Yeah. So one more time, run through that for the folks who.
Okay. That is, go to Edit, Options.
Okay.
Then you're going to scroll down to General Settings. Then within General Settings, you're going to look at the theme. Come over here, and right now my theme is set to blue. I click in this blank, and there's a drop-down menu. And I can choose between the default or the blue theme. So, and then once you've made your selection, like I'll go back to default here, just for giggles. Once you've made your selections, you click Apply, and then it'll change, and you click OK.
All right, cool. All right, good. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, here we go. All right. Tony, question, when using sheets, how do you zero off the surface on one sheet and zero off the machine bed on another sheet? So
very cool.
Yeah, it's is there a video, because it's such a common thing to think about. Is there a video out there? Have you created a video?
No, I haven't created a video on it, but that is coming. I can show you if you want.
Put it out there, because
if you want to bring my share back, I'll show it.
Yep, this is a need to know, folks. So
okay,
there you go.
So right off the bat, I need to create another sheet. So I'll go to Sheets, Add New. right down here at the bottom. And I'll just keep the name sheet
So
2.
let's make a correction here real quick. You have moved your tabs down to the bottom, but by
Right.
default, they're on the side.
Right.
So yeah.
And again,
So
that's
one-
up here in edit options, and you can change that.
Yeah.
I like to get in and customize,
All right.
you know. So I've got my second sheet here. Now, it doesn't matter what sheet you have highlighted out here on the work surface. What matters is which sheet you have highlighted here. I've got sheet 1 highlighted. I'm going to come down to the bottom here to edit. And I'm going to look. This one is set to material surface, my Z0 position. And that's okay. But I'm going to highlight sheet 2 and click edit. And I'm going to change that Z0 position to the machine bed. Click OK. And now they have 2 different Z0 settings. Sheet 1 to the machine bed, or excuse me, to the material surface. Sheet 2 to the machine bed.
All right. And
But-
on that, you can also adjust the materials, the
You
core
can,
material
yes.
size as well.
Go into edit, and I can change the XY position. I can make this taller and click OK. And there are my 2 sheets.
All right.
This one, my Z0 position is the bottom left. I go back to sheet 1, my Z0 position is in the center.
Okay. And you can right click over sheet 2 and find edit too, right? Like right click over the in the sidebar. You hover over the sheet,
over
right?
here. Yes, you have edit as well. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And we were talking earlier about teaching style. That's one thing about my style is I show the buttons so that folks understand what these icons do out here. Then later on, I get into context menus and sometimes even keyboard shortcuts.
Right.
So
explain the benefit of sheets.
well, I just showed one. If you've got a project that has multiple parts, instead of creating multiple files, you can create multiple sheets within that same project file. And like I made a little box, little shelf that my wife puts her jars of tea on and a couple of teacups and what have you. And that was 4 different sheets because it had 4 different shapes that I used to create the whole thing. The big back panel, the 2 side panels that had decorative cutouts and dados on the insides. And then I had another file for the 2 shelves. So having all of those, instead of having 4 different files, I had 1 file, 4 different sheets. And they were all different sizes and different thicknesses.
Yep.
So
I did that for the marble
there you
maze.
go.
All right, the cover is 3/16 plexiglass, and this is 3/4 inch, all done on a sheet. Different 0 settings. This is a freebie for anybody who gets the downcut ball nose. It's perfect
Nice.
for this kind of thing, so you get no tear out on it. So it creates a nice little rounded edge. So we'll link that ball nose, but this is it. You get this free project with it too. G code and everything.
Nice.
I figure, if I come up with a project and I'm doing a video on it, I might as well make it available to people to do stuff with it. All right. Doug he wants to thank you, Liberty, for the M&Ms, and note with his order. I'm going to bring you out, Liberty. You ready? Yep. Big smile on her face. So you're getting a little love back from Doug for the love that you sent to him, and you're so yeah, M&Ms. So you put M&Ms in every order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yep.
you write a note on every order.
Yep.
So what's the worst situation you've been in where your hand was like by the end of the day?
I actually have carpal tunnel now.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Really?
I actually have carpal tunnel now from how many notes I've written.
Wow.
So I wear a wrist brace at night, especially after bad days. But
Oh, boy.
sales are the worst. I even simplify my notes, unfortunately, for like big sales and stuff. But even then, like there's, simplifying it only does so much when you have 1,000 orders running at you. So
Yeah, it gets a little hard. Everybody gets
Yep.
love note. Even when we do a release or sales, when we just did the Memorial Day sale, Father's Day, we're going to do a little special thing on Father's Day.
Yep.
We're going to do a buy one get one half off for
Yeah.
Father's Day
Oh,
weekend.
wow.
Yeah. Do we know what tool we're going to be doing a buy one get one half off?
I mean, we may.
Yeah, I think bring Julianne out. I think we talked. Oh, she's doing this. Okay, never mind. Okay, all right. Anyway, Liberty, there's your love from her brother Doug.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep, and Liberty has support now because as we expand, so we've brought on Dwayne, who is fulfilling more and more of the role that Liberty did in the more the labor end, so Liberty can more manage the higher level functions that she's so good at, and get into the content too.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the hardest. That's the rarest commodity is time.
Yeah.
So any help you can get that'll free up some time, it's valuable. Very valuable.
Well, in a growing business, that's the thing. As we say as business owners, we buy speed, we buy time. So
What you
all
gonna
right,
say?
let's see what Joey has. Hey, Mark, for 3D Carve, would you please discuss your thought process for bit selection, e.g., 1/4 inch versus 1/8 roughing carve, 16th inch versus 1/32 tapered ball nose, 5 carve?
My thought process, okay. Again, and I say this a lot, the project is going to dictate the bits I use on it. If it is, let's say I'm carving a 3D barn star with a 2-foot diameter out of 2-inch thick foam, I'm going to probably use my 1/2 inch end mill to rough it out, then my 1/4 inch ball nose, because I don't need a lot of detail. It's going to be mounted up at the peak of the gable end of my roof, way up off the ground, and nobody's going to be able to get close to it. I don't need super detail, and I don't need super step over. If, on the other hand, I'm carving what's going to be the lid of a jewelry box or a hand mirror that somebody's going to be holding in their hand, that's when I'm going to want detail. And that's when I'm going to start thinking about those smaller bits. So basically, the project will dictate it. If it's hanging on the wall where you can get up close to it, you might want some fine detail. If it's hanging on the wall, but you've got furniture in the way and it's way up on the wall, less and less detail is needed. So the further away you are from the project, the less detail you really need. I almost always use very high modeling resolution in my job setup with 3D, simply because that makes for better detail. The only time I will ever use the anything higher than that very high 7X, the only time I'll ever use anything higher is when I've got something that's very small, or like you're carving out to make a mold and you've got a lot of detail. Something that's really small, the lid of a ring box, for example, that you need detail on. That's when I'll get into those higher resolutions. But it's going to be a very small area.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring up a picture. This is a project that we gave away during Memorial weekend sale. We also gave away a 3D file, which will be available on the IDC Woodcraft store shortly. but so the freebie is gone, but this is it right here. So we had our designer work this up, and Julianne worked with him for a couple of weeks to get it refined. So this project is like 18 by 24, fairly large. So when I sent pictures to the designer, he said you probably should have used a finer taper ball nose because it didn't capture as much of the detail on the soldier as it could have in the real fine stuff. Like right here, there's a bullets on his helmet. And so one of the things you can do that I was just thinking in this whole project for the most part doesn't require a fine detail taper ball nose. I use my fine detail ball nose. You can get away with an 1/8 inch ball nose on this one. But for the detail here, I probably would have created a boundary around the guy, and then used the ultra fine ball nose, taper ball nose on that to capture that detail. So you can create a boundary around subjects, and then use different tools for that.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, the project will dictate what you use, because you're absolutely right. That soldier needs that fine detail, but the stripes don't.
Right.
So isolating individual pieces is another good way of doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Acrylic Wood Designs, he said he appreciated that change that you showed.
Yep.
Because it helped him see.
Yep.
see
That's
that.
yeah.
I haven't upgraded to 12.5 yet.
She's one of my channel members, and
Okay.
we've been working together for a little bit.
John is saying I have V12 and tried to upgrade to 12.5 and is telling me I'm getting free trial. Is this correct, or did I do something wrong?
Would you mind terribly if I showed how to download the 12.5?
Go for it.
It won't take but a second. Let me bring it up
I think
here.
this is good for people who want to upgrade to 12.5.
Okay.
So we're just going to bring up the same screen.
Yeah. This is one of these things that I've seen a lot. The absolute best way is to go to portal.vectric.com. You will have to sign in using your email address that you use to purchase the software. Then log in, and there's the link right there, 12.5 out now. So we'll click on the download now. If you get anything other than this screen, make sure you are logged into the correct account. I had a case earlier today where it was the wife of the person who downloaded the software. She had her account. He had his account. She was logging in, and it was telling her she could get the trial version. Now, when he logs in, he gets this screen here. So in my case, view license and download. Click it. It'll take it to this screen. You don't need to see my license key. There's the download right there. And that will download the installer. Then you navigate to wherever you want to put it. Mine is right there, so I don't need to download it again. Then after you have this download complete, go to that folder where you stored it, double-clicked it, and follow the prompts.
Okay.
But that is the easiest way of getting
Go
it.
back to that download screen.
I'm sorry?
Go back to the download screen for a second.
Okay, well, you don't need to see my license key.
No. But you got so they got the main download button, and they got a whole bunch of other download buttons. What do people need to do with this?
Download the installer first and run the software. Then look at your clip art. If you don't have all the clip art, this is where you go to download the clip art.
Okay.
all of this. This is the clip art. Now you can also do it from within the software. Let me bring up Spire, and I'll click over to the clip art. And we're just going to look at what the heck, animals. I already had all my clip art downloaded, and when I migrated from 12.0 to 12.5, that clip art followed along with it. So
Okay.
it's all already there.
Okay, so those are all clip art files. Okay.
Right. These are all the clip art files. So if you don't have something, if there's something you're missing, you can download it here and install it.
Okay. All right. So, hey, folks, I just want to let you know we got 42 questions in the queue, and I'm sure there's more. So,
I'll try to be more succinct.
well, no, I'm not talking to you. I'm just letting you know, come around 9 o'clock. We're gonna try and knock out what we can here, but we can't really load up any more questions. So, if you've asked questions, then we're probably not going to get to your questions if you're just asking them now. All right, let's do John. What CNC bit would you use to cut a UHMW?
Do you have an opinion on that? Because I certainly do.
I'd use O-flutes on that. What about you?
I use straight bits.
Do you?
Just a straight bit. No
You mean
spiral,
like
no helix, no nothing.
Well, why is that?
Because it spits out the chips like you would not believe, and they do not have a chance to melt. I use it on HDPE as well. Now, it looks like coconut. It looks like shaved coconut. Pro tip, it tastes nothing like it. So don't eat the shavings.
All right. Yeah. So what he's it's an acronym for a type of material. It stands for ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. So basically it's a dense polymer, heavy and good for resistance, abrasion. So
and nothing sticks to it. You will have to screw it down. If you don't screw it down or nail it down, you're on your own because it's going to fly away. It double-sided tape will not stick to it. Painter's tape and CA glue will not stick to it. It's not going to happen.
okay.
And trying to get it out of the box. That's the bit that I use to cut UHMW or HDPE.
It looks like a 1/2 inch bit.
It is.
A 1/2 inch, okay.
It's a 1/2 inch straight flute bit, and brother, I'm here to tell you, it throws out some shavings.
How's the finish? What kind of spindle speed and feed do you use on that?
I'd have to get into the software. I really don't remember.
That's a nice bit there, by the way.
Well, the folks at Avid CNC were very nice to me and sent me a white side bit set.
Okay.
And that's what came with it. And most of them I've never used. I haven't used any of these so far. I haven't needed to. But yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's see. What was I going to say? Well, we're getting closer on our surprise new product, new bit that's going to be coming out.
Nice.
We're getting closer.
I think everybody is just, are we taking bets on what the bit is yet?
I don't know.
In the chat, is there a,
So here's what I'm going to say. It's so it is a how do I say it without saying too much? It's going to combine the quantities or the qualities and characteristics of multiple bits.
Nice.
No. It's going to give you exceptional material removal. You'll be able to run it faster. It's going to give you really good finishes, and it's going to get the chips out of the way really fast. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Okay.
All right. Norman is, what's the advantage of using material surface instead of the machine bed when set into Z0 position?
Once again, it depends on the project. The way I look at it is if I'm not cutting through the material and I need to just cut into the material, I'm setting my Z0 to the material surface. Wow. If I am cutting all the way through my material, I'm going to set my Z0 to the machine bed so I don't cut into the machine bed too deep. So this is especially true if you've got something like a vacuum table. You don't want to cut into that. So you'll set your Z0 off of that vacuum table surface, aka the machine bed, and then you can cut all the way through it and it'll come down to that surface and won't cut into it.
Yeah. So I make lots of little projects. I like to make just like positive affirmations that I put around my house or something. Thing, let go and let God, right? And it's just cut off a square piece of board, right? And that's just a VCarve right on the top.
Mm-hmm.
So I set my thing on the top. It's like this. If this were just a square piece of material, I would work to design my project to the material size itself and just do the carving there. And then I'd set everything off the top.
Right. But again, we were talking earlier about the advantage of sheets.
Yeah.
I can do all of that V carving on one sheet with set to the material surface, and then take that profile shape, transfer to another sheet, set that one to the machine bed, and then do my profile cutout. So you got both on the same file, and I do have a video on that.
Okay. I do the majority
on the same file.
I am now about 90% set off my machine bed.
Yeah. Okay.
About 90% of the time now. It saves the machine. I tell you, it's when I
well,
how many times I cut my bed? I had to replace 4 strips on my spoil board 2 weeks ago.
That's what it's for.
Yeah,
that's its job. That's its job, is to be spoiled.
One,
so your
one
table
project that caused that for me.
It's always that way. I'm learning the Centroid Acorn software. I made a mistake, and along the way, I discovered that my 1/4 inch end mill will not only cut through 3/4 inch thick hardwood, it'll cut a 1/4 inch into the spoil board in one pass at 140 inches per minute because I made a mistake on my Z0.
All right.
So
Okay.
I've got a 1/4 inch trough in my spoil board now because I made a mistake.
Yep.
But that's
why we have a
life.
spoil board. That's why we have a spoil board. Yeah. So folks, for deeper V12.5 questions, we got Kyle in 2 weeks. We'll let him dive into that.
Yes.
Let's see. William Woodworks, any suggestions on some good tools? The like little files or tools you use to clean up work on the CNC of the basics. So I'm going to bring up the brushes. I'm going to bring up Liberty so she can talk about the brushes too, because it's like one of our favorite tools to use. And I'll show you what it is. I'm going to go get it.
I have some here in my house too.
Oh, you do? Okay. All right. Well, let Liberty show her stuff. There's little Dremel tools that she uses.
This is my little Dremel box. I bought myself a Dremel because I'm so obsessed with these brushes. I got a little baggie of them. We have 4 different grits. We have 180, 220, something else, and 440.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring them up on the website.
You can bring those up on your screen.
Yeah, I'll do that.
But I use these babies so much. They clean up my work so fast and so easy. I do a lot of V carving. I'm just simply attached to it right now. And so I do a lot of rounding too. So like rounding out my edges, I just use these brushes to clean up all the little furs if I have any. If I'm using an upcut, I don't touch it with a sanding like thing. I just use my Dremel and it takes everything right off so beautifully.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that's why we stock them, because once I got them, I bought some a long time ago. So I got to stock these, and Liberty's living proof of how well they work. All right, cool. Yeah. Liberty, what would you say are some basic tools that people would need?
Aside from like CNC tools.
Yeah, just outside of the
Tools in the
CNC
workshop.
bits.
So I was distracted with my kiddo for a minute, so I didn't hear what all you guys listed, but I would say calipers. I love my CA glue and tape method, so I always need a spatula around to pull my projects off. Having a Dremel around with Dremel brushes, it cleans things up so much easier, so much less work on your hands. I do have a we do have a sander though, battery operated sander, and that's a must for me. I like all my finishing tools. Yeah. Some sort of saw to cut things down.
Clear coat, something, or sanding sealer.
Yep, sanding sealer, glue for glue ups or inlays. I've been using Boss Dog wood glue for my recent project. I had to redo something, so I was able to use that. Wood filler, a wood filler.
Oh.
Yeah, what is it? We use like a polyurethane coat. That stuff is so much better than just a clear spray paint. It adds this like just magical gloss over it. What are those black cans we use, Garrett?
We use the black cans are lacquer, which is very
Lacquer.
toxic.
Lacquer.
Lacquer.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
dries
lacquer.
fast and it's real durable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The
you
only
just
thing to watch out for is if you're in a high humidity time frame and you spray it, and when there's real high humidity, it can blush and start turning white.
Oh,
So know
okay.
that. If
Good to know.
If it's real humid, watch out. So
Absolutely.
I don't spray it when it's raining outside.
All right.
I did not know that. That will be good because I use it so much.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm with you. I love a lacquer finish. Something I use a lot. Go get yourself a denture brush.
Mm-hmm.
Down at Wally World. These bristles here are a little bit. These bristles here are a little bit stiffer than these bristles. They're also stiffer than a regular toothbrush. They're made for cleaning dentures, getting down into those nooks and crannies and what have you. Really, really, really work. I also use the nylon abrasive brushes and the Dremel sized as well. And just go for the gusto,
Steel wool for cleaning out your collets. I saw somebody mention that, but they're mentioning it for a different reason, but steel wool for like cleaning out your collets and stuff.
Yeah,
and then I use Oramask a lot.
Yeah.
Oramask a lot. It's not a necessary, but it's a good, like if you do a lot of painting and layering and such like that, Oramask.
Yep.
Checklist.
You need a plan too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is the setup checklist that we put out because I've seen too many, and I've made too many mistakes, forgetting to set the Z and stuff. And I saw a guy ruin a $3,000 table because he didn't set the Z. Yeah,
can happen.
So actually, this checklist, I actually passed it back and forth to Mark. He said you need to have this on there too when we developed it. So this is basically it makes sure you're all set up properly. You understand exactly what you're doing. You got the exact right tools. You're knowing where you're setting your stuff. You're confirming that you're setting stuff. It's this is free. to you guys because I don't want y'all to ruin your projects. So
I literally had a situation this last week where I was using the checklist, and then some things with my design went wrong, not like the CNC. And so I got frustrated and I started rushing through things and literally dove into my project.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, great. There we go. Checklist.
Yep.
Back on it.
Even more important than having the checklist. You can have the best checklist in the world, but if it's hanging on the wall behind you and you're not using it, it is worthless.
Yep.
So even more important than having the checklist, use it.
Yep.
Every time.
This is more important than actually carving your project.
Yeah, because without that, you're not carving the project.
Yeah.
You're making firewood.
Yep. So your setup is everything. So that we'll link that in the comments. It's going to be in the description. It's free to you. You're new to CNC, definitely. All right. Thanks, Liberty. I do have to say a big fat thank you to Eric. Erickson Design gave a $50 gift. He loves his 1/32 taper ball nose. Right now, he's using one to make high detailed 3D inlaid gun grips. There's a time where you need the nice detail one.
Yep.
Everyone needs a good taper ball nose. All right, we can pay this forward for a TBN giveaway. So, ladies, looks like we're gonna have to do a. Should we do the 3-piece set?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we got. All right.
That's Maurice over at Erickson Design and Woodworking. I've had him on my live stream a couple of times. Number one hell of a guy. He's a good guy. He's just good people. Number two, he knows what he's doing. He kind of acts like he don't. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's very good at what he does. Check out his channel and give him a follow. He has got some beautiful work.
So is this his channel name here?
Yes, Erickson Design and Woodworking.
Okay. All right, we'll find it.
The only thing I can say to kind of maybe, and I don't really to hold against him, is he's one of those Fusion 360 people, and you know how they are. But I mean, the guy, he's on the ball. He knows what he's doing, and he does some gorgeous work.
All right. Well, in honor of his gift, first of all, he gave a gift just below the video on YouTube here. In the IDC channel is a little $sign, and that's how he made a contribution. And I would love to see the project you're doing, so you'll definitely have to send me a picture. So I'm going to show you. Thank you. So I'm going to show you what we are in honor of his donation and request. This is what we're going to add to the giveaway. Dang, that was a nice surprise. There we go. I'm going overboard on this one. It says sold out, but don't worry, we'll make it work. So we get this. This is what we'll give away. It's a 3-piece set. You get the Beast, the fine detail taper ball nose bit, and the ultra fine detail taper ball nose bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that'll be the other giveaway, ladies. It's a nice little set there. All right, let me get back up there. Thank you for, wow, that's a lot of questions. So we're on 39 right now.
I'm trying to be quiet.
No, it's okay. No, it's, I mean, if they don't get the detail, right? If we don't pass along, folks, we're not going to be able to nail all these questions that we got in the queue. There's a lot of them. Yeah. Our Norman says, I'd like to understand how to restart a project after power failure. I'm using the Carbide 3D Carbide Motion software on Raspberry Pi and a Shapeoko 3. So I don't know that software. I can't really answer that. I
don't know it either. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, I would contact Carbide. I would contact 3D and ask them.
Yeah, if you're using a touch plate, it's easier than if you're not.
Mhm.
And this is where having that grid system that Garrett's
Yes.
talking about comes in handy, because if nothing else, you have your X and Y zero.
Yeah. Okay. So just on that question, this is really good. Thank you for bringing that up, Mark. So this is something you've seen a lot. People, okay, I lost power. I'm right in the middle of a project. How do we recover? So picking up where in the G code depends on the software you have. If it's monitoring the G code and it's got that G sender, what I use, I think it's got that, but I've actually not dove into that, where it'll actually know where you were when it lost its position or whatever.
Yeah.
But the position of your zero, right? If you have a machine, if you know where you are starting from, or you can pick up where you start from, then that's where the grid comes in. That's where having a homing sequence really helps.
Yep.
Because if your power goes out, you lose the position, you can refer the machine home and go right back to that Z0, XYZ0.
The hardest part of recovering from like a power failure or machine error or something like that is getting that XY0 set perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot over here in the chat. That's why I always write down my XY zero coordinates. If you have that grid, you don't have to write it down. You can just take it right back to that corner. If you have to manually set your XY0, you can do it from there. And you may have to start over. You may have to run the whole thing over again.
Yeah.
It just depends on how far you were into the project. If you were 5.5 hours into a 6-hour project, you can almost all software will allow you to scroll down through that G code. And if you're clicking on the lines, it will show you in the preview where that bit is. You can get a few lines ahead of where you actually were,
Yeah.
or excuse me, a few lines back from where you actually were. Highlight that line and say, start from here.
Yeah.
And it'll just pick up from where you left off.
Yeah.
But
Greg made a comment from STL Woodworking. He's been on the channel quite a few times. He actually does. He does some. He helps us at IDC Woodcraft too. So
nice.
but he said Carbide 3D CNCs are open loop systems.
Right. Yeah.
So what that means is, there's a term for the newer people, losing steps. If your machine loses, it's sending pulses, electrical pulses to the motors, and the motors are built in such a way that they move based on those pulses. And if something holds that up or restricts the steps, or it overshoots that pulse, then you've lost your position. If it's an open loop system, the computer doesn't know that, and it'll just keep on running. The closed loop system is the motor is talking back and forth to the computer.
Right.
Okay. All right. So Howard is saying he just put his alt mill together. You can't find high density MDF. Well, MDF, the medium density MDF work. So MDF stands for medium density fiberboard.
Yes.
Right? And
yes,
that's
it
all.
will.
Yeah. What's that?
The only thing that's going to happen is it's going to chip a little bit easier. If you drop something on it, it may chip a little bit easier. It's going to wear a little bit easier. If you have holes drilled in it for alignment dowels, over time they'll wear a little bit faster. But I ran it because that's all I could get at the time. I ran it for close to 2 years on my Avid, and no issues. Medium density will work okay. And let's be honest. It's a set of priorities. Do you want to wait until they get high density in your location? If not, then you got to use what you got.
Yeah. Medium density fiberboard is what most people use. That's what I use. What I will say is, here's what I do is, when I surface my board and I get it so the whole thing is flat, I will put sanding sealer on it, which soaks it in, makes the whole thing out of level again. And then I resurface it again. Sanding sealer dries real quick when I have a fan on it. I'll do it again, and I'll put sanding sealer on it again, and then do it again. right? And that gives me a nice harder surface to work with.
Are you using a shellac based sanding sealer?
No, just the Minwax sanding
Okay.
sealer. That's water
Grab
based.
you some of the Zinsser Bullseye shellac based sanding sealer. You'll only have to do it once. I
Oh, okay.
also seal my spoil board because we have long periods of fog where humidity is 100%, and it will actually cause exposed wood to mildew. So I have to seal my spoil board, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
The one thing about MDF, it is sensitive to environmental humidity changes.
Yeah.
So, Howard, make sure if you didn't get it, you need T-tracks for that. You got a lot of space. You want to.
Yeah,
T-tracks.
I've got T-tracks on mine. I got a T-track on the outside of each side, and then 3 in the middle. I did 7-inch strips because I only use T-track to mount jigs and fixtures.
Yeah.
I don't use clamps. I don't like clamps.
Okay. T-tracks are those metal strips that are running down there.
Yep.
So IDC Woodcraft, of course, we carry those as well. So we'll link that too. For the alt mill, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You want, so in the on the website where we link it, you want the 48 inches first of all, and then also, unless you got the 2x4, then you want the 24 inches. So we got on 24 inch, 36 inch, and 48 inch. We'll give you the screws with them. In the listing, it tells you how to calculate how many tracks you want to get. So, okay. All right. John is saying, do you have any experience with ring boxes, specifically how to make a chamfer on the back of the box that opens appropriately? I've never made a box.
I do mine on a table saw.
Okay.
So it's just chamfering the material, and then you get it put together, and that chamfer is there. You have also an option to look for barrel hinges. They just require a hole drilled in them, but as the box opens, it also lifts that lid slightly so that
Okay.
and it doesn't have to be any kind of a specific angle. I have sanded those those edges. It just needs to clear the other edge of the box. So I've actually hand sanded both down just till there's enough clearance there that the box opens.
Okay. Of course, it's good practice on a CNC to get familiar with what the different things you can do with the CNC.
But then again, I'm coming at this from a cabinet maker and a furniture maker standpoint. You also have to balance out time.
Yeah.
And if it's just as easy for me to take a sanding block and hit those corners real quick and then test, then I'm going to do that rather than programming something and going through all the other stuff,
All right. Ellen is saying, is the CNC machine still a secret? I don't know about
no, we all have them. See, Ellen, I got mine.
I got mine.
Garrett's got his. Liberty's fixing to get hers.
Yeah, we haven't figured out what we're getting yet. I'm going to bring her back up. I want to see what she wants.
Something tells me Liberty has it figured out. She's just waiting to run it past you.
Yeah, well I think that's what we'll do instead of Liberty. Do you know what folks put in the comments what machine you think Liberty should get? And then we have to be reasonable. We can't take a 4x8, but 4x4.
Right. I agree. Yeah, we can't take on anything super big, but I would like to hear what people have to say. Because I have a couple of different ideas, I have a couple of different thoughts that I would be good with,
Yep,
and machine manufacturers, if you're watching, have your people call her people. You do lunch.
Yep, for sure. Yep, you work with her, not with me on this one. Winfinity, Woodworker, Elite, Fox Alien, Poco.
ShopBot. Yeah, people are going high end here.
Yeah, the ShopBot's a nice machine. It's a pricier machine. And then Shop Saber, right?
Mm-hmm.
Long Mill.
Cam Master.
All right.
PDB and Dominator.
Yeah. That might be one too. All right. Well, we'll let Liberty kind of.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, folks, and there you go. You can contact your machine company. Say, I know that IDC Woodcraft is looking for another machine that's going to be for the ladies. All right. And
Opportunity.
You might want to get on there because they're going to promote your machine too. That's going to be Liberty's machine. And by the way, tell them about ladies women who CNC for the women who are here that don't know about it.
Yes. So Women Who CNC is kind of a all-encompassing CNC group on both Facebook, and they believe have a website for a map. It is women only. It is a safe space for us to share our creations, ask our questions. The creator of it, Kate Tucker, noticed what I've also noticed, that, sometimes when you're a female asking questions in a certain industry, they're not always so wonderful as Mark and Garrett to take your questions and respect it and respect you and your craft. So it's just a safe space for all the women to kind of gather and have. And, I'm part of the CNC entrepreneurs still too, things like that. But we've got our own little corner.
Yep, there you go. Women who CNC. Find them on Facebook. If you're a female, you'll be let in. If you're male, gates are up.
Yeah.
Can't get in.
No.
All right, cool. Yeah, so a lot of people are saying, they hope it's an alt bill. They hope it's one or the other. So one of the things that I have done, as I've thought about IDC Woodcraft and what it stands for, right? And I love my alt mill CNC router. This is, for me, it's the best machine I've had yet. I've even had a pro level machine. But for my purposes, this is the best thing I've ever had. However, I had to change the mindset of how I've operated, because I don't want IDC to be so much specific product focused or biased, right? Because there's a lot of good CNC machines out there. My biggest thing is, how can we educate people, and how can we make sure we guide them the right way, and make sure that we're putting the companies that we deal with, they have to have the same standard, the good customer service. They have to be there, loving their product, love what they do, and love the community, and be follow up on their commitment, and not just about making money. Right?
Well, they also have to be the kind of people that support the community, because we talked about a lot of big names, but I know nobody mentioned it, but Thermwood does not need your help. Thermwood does not support the community. They're not going to come back and talk to you and take questions and be a guest on Garrett's live stream and help people work through on their machines. No, they're not going to do that. They're multi-million-dollar machines that 3D print and 5-axis CNC.
Yeah.
They don't need guys like us, right?
Yeah.
So I look for the companies that support the community and talk back and talk with us, not at us.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's one of the reasons I went with Avid, is because they have that ethics. They have those ethics, and they have that ethos,
right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I was talking to someone else. Even you said this. It's like CNC bits. So IDC Woodcraft is primarily a CNC. It's an educational company, and the bread and butter is CNC bits, right? You find us in the community. You don't find a Mana or a Whiteside or a Spec Tool out there.
Absolutely not.
Right. And building out the resources like the checklist, or I'm putting out a new reference guide. I'm just now putting together it's a step over guide. So it tells what step over is, and the general range of step over for the various types of bits. And then the other guide is the types of CNC router bits out there and what they do. If people have asked me, is there a poster? Is there some kind of reference out there? And so I want to make sure we have that resource available to people too. All right. Well, we'll see how this works. Okay, Ellen, we'll figure this one out. Ronnie says, make Mark, when doing tiling, do you need to set the margin error?
If you're talking about overlap between the tiles, I will put, say, 1/4 inch. If I'm just doing a pass through, if I'm cutting separate pieces, I don't worry about the margins. Maybe I should, but I don't necessarily worry about the margins. I will use like say maybe a 1/16 of an inch overlap on each tile. That way, if I damage a piece, for instance, I've got a little bit of a buffer and I can kind of sand that and get that matched up. But generally speaking, if it's like a pass-through tile, I'll do an overlap of about 1/4 of an inch. And if it's a individual piece tile, I'll make it maybe a 1/16 of an inch. So
I haven't
I hope
done
that
any
answers
tile.
that.
Yeah, I haven't done any tile jobs, so I can't
I
answer.
I don't
you
really
got-
like doing it, but you know.
Yeah. So Dale says, have I gotten a better roughing bit? I've broken 3. The first one was awesome, and I made a mistake and broke it. My fault. But the next ones on a normal pre-tested run broke immediately. So we've modified the design because we were getting breaks. We're getting more breaks than I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, one of my channel members broke her beast today.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What I need to do, one of the things I need to change but he said he's got it. He tested it, worked on that thing. So I'm not sure. Why I broke.
Well,
I'd like to know what machine you have, what material you were cutting, and your feeds and speeds, but you've done it on a
and depth of cut.
Yep, depth of cut, but broke immediately. Yeah, that bothers me. So I would like to know.
Would you agree that if you are breaking bits, one of 3 things is happening? Either your spindle speed is too slow, or your feed rate is too fast, or your depth of cut is too deep. Actually, 4. A combination of the previous 3.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I'll say about that, the beast, so I'm going to change the feed and speed settings on them slightly. And I want to educate you on these roughing bits that I learned a bit. So first of all, feed depths of cut. I like to keep, I found that if you go to 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch, it's better. I've put in, you can go to 3/4 of an inch, which you can. I've cut full depth in one pass. But here's a trick, Dale, and anybody else. If you're using that bit and you're going deep into it, what I found is 2 things you want to do. Number one is you're making a deep pocket. The first thing is on set up a pocket cut and do the outer cut of the pocket first. Okay, and ramp that in at 1/4 inch until you get to the full depth. So I did something that was an inch deep or 3/4 of an inch deep, and I did a 1/4 inch depth of cut. It spiraled down, so it made three passes around and then made his final pass, and then for the pocket, the rest of the pocket, I amped up the speed to 300 inches per minute at full depth. And the reason is because it's trying to push a lot of material, a lot more than what I can handle. So some of the settings, if you're doing it the way I've given some of the feeds and speeds data, then that's my fault. The other thing I found with these bits is cross cut across the grain. Works much better than going with the grain.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
If you ever do it, Mark, do a cross cut across the grain instead of it's like night and day.
Oh yeah. Something else to consider is I come from the more conservative side of the house. It took me a long time to trust my Avid enough to start surfacing at 320 inches a minute. To me, those numbers are just crazy, but I know it can do it. The thing about it is, just because it can do that doesn't mean that it should, because wood density. I don't know what you're cutting, Dale, if this is all sheet goods or if you're cutting into hardwoods. But the thing to remember is the density of no two pieces are exactly the same. So it may have worked fine in one wood, but you switch to something else, it may not be appropriate for that one. Cutting Purple Heart is different from cutting white ash, which is different from cutting maple, which is different from cutting cherry. So if you're cutting plywood, sheet goods, that's different. You're down to those four things. Just because it worked once doesn't mean you weren't teetering on the edge of breaking it that once either. So you may have gotten lucky that one time. The second time was just, that's when it decided to break. So I tend to run a little bit more conservatively. And it's funny, we in CNC, we never have the time to do it right, but we always seem to find the time to do it over.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Dale said he's doing a circular path. The
Yeah.
other thing you can do is use an offset tool path, and it starts from the middle. It works its way out. It
Yeah.
works much better that way too.
Yeah.
So Dale, do me a favor. Call our numbers on the website. Give us a call, leave a message, because we're not always there to answer the phone. We're busy and we have a limited staff. But we do get to the phone, and the ladies will watch for your call. Just make sure you say, "Hey, this is Dale from the live," and Garrett said for me to call. So leave your number, and they'll get that to me, and I'll call you.
I see Dale says he's in the lumber industry. I know my woods. I get it. Respect, brother. I'm not casting any aspersions on anybody. It's just that just because it worked once doesn't mean you weren't lucky that one time. So
Right.
maybe backing off a little bit.
Yep. We'll take care of you though. The ladies will take care of you. Let's see, William. Okay, can you adjust G code on the fly without developing software?
What do you mean by adjust G code? Some controllers will let you speed up or slow down your feed rate,
I think
or
what he's
adjust
saying
your
is,
spindle speed, but that's about it.
I think he's saying instead of recalculating a toolpath, trying to fix it in the code, I would say if you are really, really good at understanding G code, like really good, and understanding the G code process, then start to consider doing that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But changing on the fly, there's some control software that allows you to do it, but it's a very dangerous thing to do.
Yeah, some of them won't let you. I don't think most of them won't let you edit it on the fly. You can stop and make an edit, so long as it hasn't already progressed past that.
Yeah.
But some of them you can stop and make an edit. Most of them you can't.
Professionally, that we would never do that professionally.
Yeah.
We would use subroutines, and if we had to make a change, we'd run the subroutine, and then if we had to make a change, we could go and change the subroutine and run the subroutine again.
Mm-hmm.
But we will never change it on the fly.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is forgetting to put a decimal point in.
Yeah.
Probably you just drove your bit right into your project.
Yep.
All right. John is saying, is the alt mill worth the wait since they have such a lead time right now? Yes. Yes, it is. Give him the link, please.
Easiest question to answer.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to give you, we're going to give him the alt mill ordering guide too. So
Check this out. Jeez.
The download link. Okay. So I put this together, right, to tell you what I think you want to be able to get with your alt mill if you order alt mill. So that's a free download. they'll put it there in the comment. That's a drink comment, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm
It'll
on
be-
it.
Yep. Yep. And yeah, just use the links in there, and that will give me enough to buy the girls lunch, burger and a beer, or something to that effect. Which
Sweet.
I do owe them that. It's been a little while since I've taken them out. Sometimes they'll say, "We'll just take a pizza in house." They're still like, we got this giveaway coming at some point. I don't know. All right, you, Charlie. Anyone have experience with
Drag knife.
drag knife
Setting the
and-
starting point. Ooh, no, I don't. I would like a drag knife, but that's one of those things that, what would I do with it? I don't think I would use it. You know,
Yeah,
it looks
gonna-
cool. It looks great, but I'd never do anything with it. So I don't have one.
Yeah, I'm going to bring Liberty out for a second. So, so we've had a drag knife that Widget Works sent to us. I said, "Do you want to put that on this website?" And I've had it for 2.5 years because I don't know how to use a drag knife. And I haven't set it up. And so Julianne was saying, "What are we going to do with this thing?" I said, "Oh, we got Liberty. She can figure out how to set that thing up."
I kind of already sent it to Kate.
Oh, okay. It's all right. We'll
We can get another one.
no. We'll tap into Kate.
Have her
Yeah.
teach
He's in the
us.
chat.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we need to send.
Hey, teach me.
Yep. We need to send the ladies up to Kate's.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So I haven't used it. We'll that's on your task list, Liberty. Liberty is getting close to a point of knowing. Well, in many ways, she already knows a lot more than I do. But on the technical level, CNC, she's climbing up there really fast. I
Good.
mean, it's like, yeah, I can
Good.
talk to her about it, and I guess she reads me well, and then she re-explains it in her own way, and it's like, yep, she got it.
Now you just got to increase your online presence on YouTube, because, and I don't say this lightly and it sounds like I'm kissing up, but I'm not. You are in a position to where you appeal to various groups that a guy like me will never appeal to. And these groups need that inspiration.
Yeah.
So go for it.
I
I'm glad to
appreciate
see
that. I absolutely agree.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it after. So I'm taking her a couple of shows,
Mhm.
and it's like both times, like, my God, she is like phenomenal. And she's
Good.
playing. She's playing with the equipment. I said, "Do you want to get moved out of shipping to doing the shipping stuff and get more into the content and engaging with people?" And it was
Yeah.
like no time between the question. It was like, yeah,
But
Oh,
there are
look.
other things as well. I mean, you've got the personality,
yeah,
you've got the presence, you know what you're talking about. And I mean, I'm big with the male 55 and older crowd, but there's a whole demographic for those of you who can speak, that's not really been tapped into. And I think you're the one to do it. I really do.
I'm excited to expand the inspiration and the people within the community.
Well, it's great
Yeah.
to take the inspiration, but sometimes it's also good to be the inspiration. So go ye forth and prosper.
Anthony says, "Oh, grasshopper."
Yeah, it is. I mean, well, what the heck?
Yeah, but yeah, that's very clear. I mean, we've got somebody that is working to fill the role of her now, and they've got the right attitude. Very, they fit the culture. Liberty stays fulfillment manager, but she's getting it to a point where it's going right. So that's what I like. I love that.
Not only
Okay.
that, guys like Garrett and I can't carry this whole thing by ourselves. You got to pick up some of the slack, man.
For sure. All right, send you back there, and we still got this giveaway coming at some point. And so we're okay. You know, the funny thing is when we got the giveaway, and the girls they just like to hang it out there, and it's like as it gets towards the end, and like my anxiety level starts to rise. This is how they've got control over me. It's like it's nuts.
Yeah. Well, you don't have dessert before you have, you know, the main course.
Right. Okay, Stevie. After a year and a half with a router, I ordered a 65 millimeter spindle today. What kind of power difference should I expect? So So I'm saying he had maybe the Makita trim router, and now he's
Okay.
moved up to
Higher torque.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is where you would hear the router kind of, you're not going to hear that with the spindle, because it will apply more torque when it needs to. You're going to also find your cuts and carves are much cleaner because the spindle was made with tighter tolerances. The run out, which is basically how off center the motor sits within those windings, where you're not exactly spinning perfectly concentric, you're kind of wobbling a little bit. You're not going to have that with the spindle.
Basically, what you're saying is bearings are much more precise.
Oh,
In
by
the
by 100,000 miles, yes. Yeah. It's going to be, a lot of people say it's quieter. Yes, it's quieter. You don't have the whine of the router. When the bit hits the wood, it's still loud. But you're just going to notice a smoother carve, possibly a faster carve, and it's not going to be as whiny. And you don't have to replace brushes every 6 months.
Stevie, this is what's going to happen for you. Once you get that installed and you cut for your first time, you're going, why did I not do this like a year ago?
Yeah.
Right?
Where has it been all my life?
Yep. If you are using a trim router, you'll give them PWN's link. You know, the PWN CNC makes plug and play kits for many of the CNC routers out there. I do suggest that you upgrade if you want to. You still do fine with your trim routers, but it's just so much better.
Yeah.
And for people who wear things like this,
yeah,
it's night and day as well.
That high pitched wheel is
Yeah. Nice choice upgrading.
And once you go spindle, you'll never go
Liberty, back. Yeah, B. Atkins, Liberty, Garrett. Why did we use a 4-inch grid? You decided to use a 2-inch grid. 4-inch was plenty for me because I got plenty of space on my machine. So that was just my preference. All right, from Monza. Are you kidding? I wonder if this is the Monza that, like, way long ago. Hello, everyone. Does anyone own how to use a rotary VCarve 12? Okay, so using the rotary feature.
I don't know what the question is. You can, if you're using VCarve 12 and you're using the clip art, basically the way the rotary works within VCarve is it is wrapping the artwork that you're creating around either your X or your Y axis. Mm-hmm. So you have to, when you set up the project, you have to, in job setup, indicate that it's a rotary project. And you can build it just like you would any other project, you know, because it's designing flat. Then it'll wrap that around that axis. So you design it just like you would any other project. It's only when you go to preview it, you will see it wrapped around that axis.
Yeah. Yep. So I haven't tried that yet. Well, I haven't done my rotary yet. I don't even know how to
Yeah,
set it up.
mine isn't hooked up after the change to Centroid Acorn. I haven't hooked it up yet.
Yeah. Robert was saying about the alt mill cost for similar machine, cost more for similar machine. Alt mill is priced so well for the hobbyist. So
Yeah, I don't know
this
how
setup
to do
I've got right here, the 4x4 is just under $4,000. That's with the screen. I got the touch plate, the stuff that I got in that download.
Mhm.
So this,
And by comparison, my Avid 4x4 without the rotary axis, because that was something I got later on. My Avid 4x4 was $12,000.
there you go.
So,
Yep.
but I don't know that it's a fair comparison. The alt mill seriously impresses me for home hobby. It seriously impresses me.
Yeah,
But
it's really good machine. I don't want to be so biased, but it is my favorite of the machines that I've seen so far, and have had my hands on. Brandon, does D-Center have a start from here button like Mach 3 has? I'd have to look into that deeper to see if they got.
yeah, I don't
something like
know.
that. I think they do, but I haven't never had to mess with it. Tim is saying I have the outline of a heart and want to cut straight grooves in the inside at 45-degree angle. Is there a good way to make the ends of the grooves gap the same unit? Oh, so he wants to do 45-degree grooves like that. Yeah, it's using the offset.
Fluting toolpath. Draw your vectors, use the fluting toolpath.
Okay, it's a good way to make the ends and the grooves gap the same uniform.
Yes. Just draw your line, draw the vectors where you want those grooves to be. Select them all and use the fluting toolpath. You can tell it what type of grooves to cut, and it will cut on those vectors.
Okay. All right. So you've got a video for fluting. I got a video for fluting. Fluting is such a cool toolpath. It's just
Yeah.
one of those things. If you want to make
it'll do some amazing things.
yeah. If you want to make a soap dish that drains, right? It's a very simple use. How do I control the Z-axis retraction height between passes in Vectric B12?
Okay,
All right,
that I
that's a
can
good
show
one.
you.
Yep, I'll bring up your screen, Mark.
Okay.
It's pretty easy setup, and this is a good one for everybody too.
Okay. What he's talking about is after it makes a pass or makes a carve, it's got to lift up to move to another location. We come over here to the toolpath side. We have material setup up here. Click on set, and we're going to scroll way down here to the bottom. Rapid Z gaps above the material. You're looking at Z1. This is where you control that depth, or that height rather. What that Z1 clearance does is when it's done, for example, drilling a hole, and it's going to lift up and move to the next location and drill a hole, I have my clearance set to, I'm using my fingers to point like you can see them. I have my clearance set to 0.2. It's going to come out of that hole 0.2 above the material and then move to the next hole and then drill, come up 0.2 above the material and then drill the next hole. That's where you set that. Okay. Z2, I have it also set. That's my rapid plunge rate. What this means is when the Z starts to come down, it's going to go at its rapid rate until it gets to 0.2 inches above the material. Then it's going to slow down to the feed rate I have set for that bit. So it'll come down at its rapid rate and get down, and then slow down and then start plunging at the feed rate and plunge rate that I have set for the bit.
Yeah.
So that's within material setup. You click OK. You should only need to set this once because the software is going to remember that as your last used, but you can always go in and change it. If that's not enough, you need more height. Maybe you've got some screw heads out there you're trying to avoid. You can change that here. Or if that's too high, you can bring it down lower. So, but it is something to always look at on just about every project you do, because things change.
Yeah.
So.
Here's another little setting that I am just starting to use that I like. Go back into the set.
Okay.
Screen.
And I can answer another question I saw that just popped up, but go ahead.
Down where it says home start position, it generally defaults to 0, 0. So right now on Mark's screen, the 0, 0 point is the middle of the project material.
Right.
So when the machine is going to start over that position, because your G code is going to say go to the 0, 0 first, and then it's going to end at that position. But since I use the back left corner as my 0 point, when I'm done carving, I want that machine to get out of the way. So I'm changing my default from 0, 0 to a number that's going to move it 4 inches back from the 0 position.
Yeah.
So
you can do that here.
Yep.
The only problem you're going to find, and this would answer TP Sooner's question that he just put in, and I know he's jumping the line a little bit.
Nope.
When you click cycle start, your machine's going to go to that position. So if you put in 14 and 26 here, your machine's going to go to 14 and 26, then first, and then come back and start carving.
Yeah. So it'll start at that point and it'll finish at that point.
Exactly. To TP Sooner's question, Z height, Z gap above the material. That's what it's dropping down to. He's asking, why does my spindle immediately drop down before going to the 0 to start to carve? This is why. Your Z gap above material. It's going to this height, then it's moving. So if you want to change that, because like for instance, when I use my touch plate to set my Z0, it's going to come down, it's going to touch the touch plate and then come up an inch above it and stay there. So now I've got my Z0 set. I go over, I hit cycle start. The first thing it's going to do is drop down to that 0.3 inches above my material, then move over there. So that's why it does that.
Yeah. Okay. And I just thought about that spindle question that we had before, the disordered spindle. One of the things to note about spindles and upgrading to a spindle is spindles take a little more time to wind up to speed. All right. With your trim routers, you turn it on and boom, it's right there to speed. Spindle can take 5, 6, 7 seconds to get up to speed. And you want to make sure that your machine is going to give it that opportunity to spin up. So what we do, like for the long mill over there, we modified the G code post processor that creates a delay, like a 5-second delay. It gives it time, what we call dwell cycle. The alt mill is already built in, so we don't have to use a dwell command.
It's built in on mine as well. It throws the command to start my dust collector, then it starts my spindle, and giving them both time to ramp up and be at speed before it makes its first cut.
All right. We are.
We have a lot of questions.
Yeah, we do, but we're not going to be able to knock these out. We're an hour and 45 minutes in, and it's about time for us to check out. But the ladies have 2 giveaways to do if they decide to do it. It always gets my blood pressure up, and because they wait. Anyway, let's handle one more, and then we'll let them take over. So let's just go. I'm just kind of scrolling through some of the questions we have to find a good one. If you see one, Mark, in the queue, just go ahead and grab it. That you think would be good.
And the starred questions over here.
Yep.
Yeah,
find one in the queue that you think might be a good one for.
I don't know anything about Carbide Create.
Mhm.
See, I really don't know. Well, Nova Magritte has one probably for you.
Okay.
Is there any reason why plywood is not a wood choice in the IDC Woodcraft database?
Okay, so our database is just listing hardwoods, right? So I don't have anything in the softwoods and in the plywood area, right? The settings that we have in the database are conservative settings. They're going to work for plywood. They're going to work for hardwoods. They're going to work for MDF, right? So that they're dialed down because I have to assume you have a low power machine or something to that effect. So
Okay.
yeah,
You
I-
can create your own
yeah,
material,
totally.
Nova. Um,
That's a
you
little more advanced though. But
you
that's
can totally do that.
yeah. But the numbers I have, you can work with for virtually all material.
And that's what I was going to suggest, that you take the numbers in Garrett's database for hardwoods and import that over to you can make a plywood category, import that bit over to that, use those same settings, and then try it on some scrap. If you need to speed something up or slow something down, maybe a little bit shallower depth of cut, create your own database for plywood.
Right.
And take copious notes. I've got notebooks all over the place and I use them. Take copious notes and you'll develop that ear that tells you what is working and what isn't working, you know?
Right. All right. I got a good question here, and then we are going to turn it over to the ladies that I like.
All right.
The question I like, not the ladies that I like because I like them all, and in the IBC team, they're amazing.
It's your story, Garrett.
They
You
don't,
tell
they
it
don't
any way you
even
want.
they don't even get me mad, right? I was taught when I was talking to Gary on the phone today.
Mhm.
And I was saying, these guys intuit me like weeks before I even think about something. I have gone up to them like multiple times and said, hey guys, I want to start doing this. And they'll say, we did that 2 weeks ago. It's so funny.
How much of that is our bad memory? We don't remember mentioning it.
no, it's
And
literally.
how much of it is they just, hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. You know?
I will let them answer this one in a second because they can answer this one and answer that very clearly. Okay, but I want to answer this one from William Woodworks. He said, if you have a file to run that calls for 3/4 of an inch, but your material is undersized, can you tweak the thickness in the G code? And I would say I would not do that. I would this is why we have calipers.
Mhm.
And this is, so IDC Woodcraft has calipers. All right. This is a necessary tool, like Liberty said before. So you get these, IDC Woodcraft. We will link them too. Measurement, here's what I do. I design up my project with a general thickness. And before I run my G code, I double check thickness. Brothers and sisters, that's covered on your checklist.
Mm-hmm.
This checklist goes down to that detail. Make sure you get the
Learn
checklist.
it, love it, live it.
Yep.
I would also ask, how far undersized is it? Because remember, when we talk about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, those are nominal thicknesses. It's very rare you're going to go down to any wood supplier and bring home a piece that's spot on 3/4 of an inch
I've
thick.
gotten material from Lowe's that was listed 1 3/4, and it was literally 0.6. No, 0.06 thinner.
Thinner? Yeah.
Thinner.
I mean, you know, those numbers are nominal. There's
Mhm.
going to be a little bit over. More than likely, you're going to be a little bit under because they call it 3/4 inch before they sand it. Then they promptly remove a bunch.
Right.
So, you know, if it's instead of 0.75, it's 0.733, you're fine. You know, yeah, you can tweak the design so your profile cutout doesn't go as deep, so it doesn't, you know, go into a vacuum table or a or your spoil board. I need to talk to the people about a vacuum table. They finally got me. I think they finally got me. But
all right. Well,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Never trust your material thickness, and always
check it.
Yeah. Always check it. All right. I'm going to bring them up unless they don't want to come up, and we'll just end the show and we'll leave people hanging out there. But what about the freebie giveaways?
Yeah, I don't think the M&M queens want the backlash from that. I think
no. I do have a little control. I can just hit the end show button right now. That's about the only control I have.
And when you do, tell me how that goes for you the next day.
You know who these folks will email the company, and you know they're going to favor.
I
will get a spanking like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, I'm going to bring you up. So tell them about what Mark said. Do I remember it, or you guys just figured out like months ahead of time?
It's kind of a both and.
Is it?
It's kind of a both and. Like there'll be sometimes where you forget that you've mentioned something, and maybe you didn't necessarily forget you mentioned it even. Maybe you just mentioned it, but didn't think we were like, okay, gonna go for it till you said go for it, and we already went for it. So yeah.
I gotta applaud your honesty, because you could have just said, "Oh no, it's all us," and I think you gave away that secret a little too easily. But
well, you know what? I mean, my head is so full, I forget all the time.
No, I can't even claim a full head. I can't remember what I had for dinner last night. So
Julianne is the goddess of note taking.
Yeah.
She so totally is.
Well, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Many notebooks.
Yeah. If we're talking about it, she's writing about it. And this is written record. We talked about it today. Well, I'm going to look at my notes and see. It was yesterday when we talked about that card that gets included in which I still need to ask you about. Did I really say that?
Yeah, that was in the old notebook. That was 2 notebooks ago.
Yeah, I'm seeing people put in empty hashtags. They're waiting.
I know. I was gonna say they're getting impatient. They're just hashtag. Is this gonna work? Is this gonna work?
Some of us have to go to bed. No.
Ed.
So we have kind of a letdown from earlier. Even though it was paid forward, we can't in good conscience give away a set that includes a bit that we do not have in stock.
Oh no. What are we out of stock on?
The TBN
one.
Okay.
I don't even have any for replacements at the moment, which typically, you guys know I've told you before, I keep 4 or 5 back for replacements, and sometimes we pull out of those for certain occasions or what have you, but I have 0.
Right. Okay. Stock. So the bit that's missing is the bit on the bottom. That's out of stock. So I guess we got inventory coming in. They got it take care of. So you guys
away that.
you decide what we need to do.
We have decided that we're kind of upping the ante. You guys that are entering to win, which once I put in a hashtag, you will be getting one of our ball nose downcut bits along with hat and M&Ms.
Sweet.
So we hope that makes up for it. And we kind of don't have any apologies about the hashtag tonight. Yeah, we're not sorry. We're not sorry at all.
So is this what we're giving away?
Yep.
Yep, okay. We're gonna give away the 1/4-inch ball nose downcut.
You just wanted to see that scroll up in the chat. That's what it is. You guys just thought it would funny if you had a screen of nothing but that.
I like their audacity. And every CNCer out there has to say, pound my balls.
Exactly.
That's on the channel. That's a good one. That's audacity. I like it. I can't wait to see what they come up with next.
I'm just waiting to see. I'm just waiting to see that as a license plate on a pickup.
That would be a good one, as long as it
Keeps getting
doesn't
worse.
include the word IDC Woodcraft.
Now, I did see a license plate down in Nevada. It was LB Sand. And you have to think about it because they wouldn't give him a hashtag.
Oh, and it was LD what?
LB Sand.
Okay.
Pound
All
sand.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
explain to them what to do, ladies, and how this all going to work. It's your show now.
Well, for those of you that have no idea and no clue what's going on, I do apologize for that. But over on our YouTube channel, all you have to do is enter this specific code you see on your screen into the chat. So you only have to enter it once, exactly as it appears. And I see some variations that have actually made me chuckle a little bit that I won't say out loud.
Right.
Oh, that would too.
So,
But you-
and then we will do our drawing for 2 winners.
It is completely random. The system does it itself, and we wait for the confetti.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It
Ah,
kind of goes along with the look at that blue balls from Robert.
You know what? I'm not even gonna say it. I won't say it yet. I'll save it. No, I won't save it. I only hope that it's only females that win tonight.
Yes. Yes.
oh boy.
So Marie, Ellen, watch out.
Right, for sure.
Ladies, let's go. Oh my
That's
god.
too funny. How many are we up to? That number's too small. We need to contact StreamYard and tell them to make that number bigger so we can see.
I can kind of sort of increase it. Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah, if young eyes are having a problem with it, they need to increase the size of it.
Is that big enough? Does
There
that
we
work?
go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
So
I
what
keep my screen at like 80 to 90% size so I can see everything.
Okay, so
Oh,
what
wow.
we're giving away,
I keep mine at least 120.
just a rehash, what we're giving away, right, is you said the down cut, the BD one. Okay, so I'm going to bring that back up on screen.
Okay.
All right, so I can't until you unload yours.
Oh, hold on. It'll still be scrolling at the bottom, everybody.
Okay, so it's this CNC router bit. This bit I came out with because I was tired of getting tear out on the upcut ball nose bits. So I got with the tooling company that says I need a downcut design. And so we worked it a little bit. We got it, and it works phenomenally well. This is a 1/4 inch downcut ball nose end mill. And with that, you will get this file for free, right? That makes this marble maze. You get a steel ball bearing with it for this marble maze. And the file you get is the Vectric file. I usually do a DXF and a SVG attached to it. I give you the G code. I write up the instructions. So you'll have everything. You got everything with that. And one of those CNC router bits we use on that. So we're giving away 2 of those. This is cool.
All right, you guys. We've got 224 entries. Are we ready to draw
I
our
say let's
first
go
one?
ahead.
Ready to rock and roll. We'll do the first
Alrighty.
one.
So let me take
Everybody's
my screen.
still entering. Keep entering. You will be in the next drawing, and anybody who's entered before, you will still be in the next drawing.
Yep. Okay. Oh, we're at 225. All right, let's do it.
Let's start. All right, wait for the confetti. Da, 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 da. Robert Legg is winner.
Robert.
Woo, Robert. Party time. We need
Congrats.
to get the horn so we can blow them up too, right? Don't we have those?
There's a couple at the office.
I was gonna say the leftover birthday.
Congratulations.
All
Super
right.
cool.
Awesome. I think we've got some last minute
Mhm.
entries.
Yep, Robert's
Yep.
he just put in there.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! You got it. There you are, Robert.
Awesome. All right.
Make sure you email us, Garrett at idcwoodcraft.com. What do they need to do?
Wednesday winner is the subject line, or you can just go through our website and the contact us form and put Wednesday winner and give us your name, and we'll go from there on getting your address and all that good stuff.
Yep. Name, address, email.
Yep.
So that way I know who you are.
And
All
what-
right. Got 226 entries now.
Woo.
Got a couple
All
last
right.
minute people. Are we ready for the second one?
Yep.
Ready.
Let's rock and roll.
Drum roll and
Drum roll. Oh, there we go. Jerry,
All
Gary
right.
Wagner.
Woo,
All right.
Jerry, congratulations.
They just
Congratulations.
entered too.
One of
You
the last
just
entries.
entered.
Yeah.
awesome. Very cool.
And
Very
one,
cool.
One of these was because we got the donation from okay,
Maurice
yeah.
at Erickson Woodworking and Design.
Yep. Congrats, Jerry. Woo, cool.
And do go
I'm-
check out Maurice's channel. He's got some
Yep.
cool
I
stuff.
love the giveaway time. I love the giveaway time.
Okay, catch
All
up
right,
on the drinks for tonight.
folks, we got a lot of questions hanging out there, but we are unable to get to all those questions.
That's my fault.
I hope that you all appreciate that we take the time to dive into each question to the level that we do, and that you all got something out of it. If you did, make sure you give us a thumbs up. And if you feel like you're getting good value out of what we do here, I would love to see a 5-star Google review. We will put the link in, and take that minute just to give us a 5-star. And if you don't think we got a 5-star, then you know how it goes. Don't do it at all.
I don't do it at all.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Garrett. I always have fun with you and Liberty and Julianne, whether I'm out in the chat or I'm out here, but especially when I'm up here. It's
Right.
always a lot of fun with you guys. So
It
thank
is.
you.
We
for
love
me.
having you, Mark.
I appreciate having you and your humbleness and what you've done and for how long you've done it. You're always willing to be there. It's pretty fantastic.
Well, I'm a blonde. The most dangerous place you can stand is between me and a camera. So
Right. Hey, y'all, give Julianne and some and Liberty some love, because they spend a lot of time in the background just watching and talking, right? You know, but they spend a lot of time here, and they're not doing a whole lot sometimes involved in the conversation. So make sure you give them a little love too. All right. And with that, folks, we are going to check out for the night. Thanks, Mark, for coming on again. We got Kyle in 2 weeks, and I don't know what's going to happen next week. We'll see.
Anything could.
All right, folks. We'll see you.